Good morning, students. I'm Vipul Mittal, and I welcome you to another session on the regulation section of your CPA exam. In this session, I will discuss tax return filing and statute of limitation. All right. So you compute your taxable income, you compute tax, and then you file your tax return. And you file your tax return in Form 1040. And you file your tax return by 15 day of the fourth month after the close of your tax year. So if your tax year is calendar year, then you will file your tax return by April 15th of the following year. For example, so if your tax year is your calendar year, let's say it is 2021, then you file your tax return by April 15th of the next year, that is 2022. So whenever your tax year ends, you file your tax return by 15 day of the fourth month after the close of your tax year. So whenever your tax year is closing, now your tax year may close on 31st of December, which is happening in this case, or your tax year may close on any other day. For example, your tax year may close on October 31st. Let's see. Your filing due date is filed by. Now your tax year may be an annual accounting period or a short period. So if it is for 12 months, it is annual accounting period. If it is for less than 12 months, it is short period. I will discuss tax year in detail in a moment. If it is for 12 months, you call it annual accounting period. If your tax year is for less than 12 months, let's say it is for 8 months or 7 months or 6 months or 4 months, it is your short period tax return. But in any case, whenever your tax year is ending, you file your tax return by 15 day of the fourth month after the close of your tax year. So if your tax year is closing on December 31st, you file your tax return by April 15th of the following year. So if your tax year is ending on December 31st, 2021, you file your tax return by April 15, 2022. You can file the return early. You can file your return 1st of April. You can file your return in the month of March. You can file your return in the month of February. Nobody's stopping you. Do not delay the filing beyond April 15th, 2022, because this will result in penalties. All right. So whenever your tax year is ending, you file your tax return, you file your tax return in Form 1040, and you file it by 15 day of the fourth month after the close of your tax year. And your tax year may be an annual accounting period or a short period. All right. All right. So your tax year, for example, is calendar year 2021. And in this case, your tax year is ending on December 31st, 2021. And because your tax year is ending on December 31st, 2021, you have to file your tax return by April 15, 2022. You can file it early, but do not delay beyond this because this will result in penalties. Now you need to know the holiday rule. Now, what if April 15th, that is the filing due date, is Saturday, Sunday, or a legal holiday? So if April 15th is a legal holiday or Saturday or Sunday, and you cannot file your tax return, then IRS allows you more time, gives you more time to file your tax return. So in that case, your due date is extended and your due date is not April 15th. Your due date is the next succeeding day or the next business day. So let's say, for example, April 15th is Saturday. April 16th is Sunday. You cannot file your tax return on April 15th. You cannot file your tax return on April 16th. April 17th, this is a holiday. You also cannot file your tax return on April 17th. Now you can file your tax return only on April 18th. And April 18th is your new filing due date. So your filing due date is April 18th. April 15th is a Saturday. April 16th is Sunday. April 17th is holiday. Next business day is April 18th. Your due date is not April 15th, but April 18th. You can file your tax return by April 18th. Not an issue. This is what holiday rule is. So you have to file your tax return by April 15th after the close of your calendar tax year. But if you want more time to file your tax return, you get that. And you get that through automatic extension by filing Form 4868. So you file Form 4868. You get extension to file tax return. Not an extension to pay your taxes, but an extension to file your tax return. So instead of filing by April 15th, you get 6 more months. So you can file your tax return by October 15th, 2022. This is for 2021 tax year return. So 2021 tax year return, you can file by October 15, 2022, provided you file Form 4868. And when you file Form 4868, you get automatic 6 months extension. No approval is required. Just by filing 4868, you get extension. But this extension is only to file your tax return. This is not an extension to pay your taxes. You have to pay your taxes by the due date. You do not get any extension for paying taxes. You are getting extension only to file your tax return. And you get this extension by filing Form 4868. And you get this extension for 6 months. So you can file by October 15th, 2022, your tax return for the year 2021. Now, for those who are not in US, those who are out of US, they get 2 months extension without filing Form 4868. So they have 2 months more. So instead of April 15th, they can file their tax return by June 15th, 2022. This is for 2021 tax return. They get 2 month extension and they don't need to file Form 4868. But if they need more time, suppose you're out of US and you say, no, I cannot file by June 15th, 2022. I need more time to file my tax return. Then you have to file Form 4868. So a person who is out of US gets more time, that is 2 months to file the tax return. So the due date is not April 15th, due date is extended to June 15th. And that person, if files form 4868, gets 4 more months. So 4 more months by filing 4868. All right. And yes, holiday rule works for those who are out of US and those are in US. Holiday rule works for extension also. So if October 15th is Saturday or Sunday or a holiday, then your tax return falls due the next succeeding day. Okay, so you file form 1040 and you file 1040 by April 15, 2022 for your 2021 tax return. And if you file form 4868 by April 15, 2022, then you get additional 6 months and then your due date is October 15th, 2022. This is the extended due date. So you get 6 months extension by filing form 4868 and you have to file form 4868 by April 15th, 2022 to get extension. Okay, so you file your form 4868 by April 15, 2022 and get 6 months extension. Now you can file your tax return by October 15th, 2022. So let's say you file your tax return on April 25th, 2022. Later, you realize that you have omitted to report certain incomes and you want to file another tax return. Let's say you realize this in the month of November. So November 20th, you realize that you have to file another tax return because you have omitted to report certain incomes. So you amend your tax return. And you amend your tax return by filing form 1040X. This is your amended tax return. You want to report more income. You want to report additional income. You want to claim more deductions. You file form 1040X. So only when due date or extended due date has passed, then you file form 1040X. But in case due date or extended due date has not passed, then you do not file 1040X to amend your tax return, to change your tax return. In that case, you file a superseding tax return, not an amended tax return. So you file 1040X to amend your tax return. And you file amended tax return after the due date or the extended due date. Now, if you want to change your tax return and you want to change it before the due date, that is October 15, 2022, you want to change your tax return. Let's say you want to change your tax return in the month of September. You want to change your tax return. Then you don't file form 1040X, but you file form 1040 again and you write superseding return on top of form 1040. So you don't file 1040X, but you file form 1040 again and you write at the top of 1040 superseding return. So you file your original tax return by April 25th, 2022. Now you want to change your tax return. So you file another tax return. This another tax return may be amended tax return or superseding return. So superseding tax return is filed after the originally filed return, but within the filing period, including extensions. So you file it before or by October 15th, 2022. An amended tax return you file after the originally filed return and after the expiration of the filing period. That is October 15th, 2022. So you file your original tax return by April 25th, 2022. Now you want to change your tax return. If you're changing your tax return by October 15th, 2022, you file a superseding tax return. Tax form that you file is 1040, but you write superseding return on top of it. If you're changing your tax return after October 15, 2022, you are filing form 1040X. You call that amended tax return. So let me reiterate. You file superseding tax return. You file your superseding tax return after you have filed the original tax return, but you file this superseding tax return on or before the due date. Or you may file an amended tax return. Amended tax return is filed after the original tax return and after the due date. All right, students, I hope this video is helpful. We'll connect again. Goodbye.